I'll see if anybody joins me today. Jeff just got home from work, so you're going to hear dogs barking. So, Jax West from Justice with Jax, Stephen Avery Project, and MAM Gossip. I'm coming live today to talk about the curious case of Natalia Grace. Don't know if you've seen anything on this, but it's a difficult story for me. Pizza in bed? Hello, girlfriend. And Bryce. Or Bryce is my girlfriend too. How do you guys feel about the Natalia Grace story? Does everybody know this story? So it's basically the horror movie The Orphan. So this family adopts this girl from where was it? Ukraine? Was it Ukraine? And she's a little person. And so they adopt this girl with special needs, and apparently the reason they're adopting her is because the mother, now they have three sons, and one of the sons they're claiming is a genius. And so it's already dropped sauce on your pillowcase. Um so the mother had written a book about that she raised this genius child, and she's making money off of her kid. And so she basically wanted to buy a special needs kid so she could try to show that I can make any kid into a genius. I'm that great. So they adopt this girl without meeting her first or anything. And then they claim that, well, one of the first things they say is they discovered the girl who they thought was 7. Really bad with numbers, everybody. They thought she was 7, but then she had pubic hair. And then they also say something about her period at some point. It's really hard because it first came out like last year that we saw the parent side. And it's not even the parent side, it's more the dad side, this weird dude named Michael. Because the parents are no longer together, and that's gotten really ugly too. So you really saw just Michael's side. And what just came out last week or whatever it was is now this is more Natalia's side. Um so so they adopt her when she's 7, I believe. But they're saying that she's got pubic hair, and she's not acting like a child, and she's saying things that scare them, and that she's like threatening to kill the other children, and just all this wacky stuff. But it's hard to take anything they say seriously because this guy, Michael, and I know there's been memes made about him too. So Michael Barnett, um, he's just a totally unlikable, unsympathetic, really weird douchebag. Um, so saying all these crazy things, you don't feel for him at all. And they got this poor girl re-aged um by some doctor, and going to court, and then claiming the girl is 22. And I guess the reason for 22 is they want to make sure she's old enough that she's an adult and they don't have to be responsible for her. Um the mother also had tried to institutionalize this poor girl, and that didn't work. So they rent an apartment for her and just plop her in some apartment by herself. And this is not um a a little person who doesn't have the huge amount of medical problems. This girl can barely walk and she can't close her hands all the way. She really has a hard time doing things for herself. And so you leave this girl claiming she's 22 when she's somewhere between 7 and 9 at the time, and put her in an apartment to take care of herself, to raise herself. And that they would just like periodically bring her some groceries or something, and she just has to fend for her on her own. It's really very bizarre. Um and when you see the current story from Natalia's side, you'll also see the woman who had given Natalia up for adoption, gave her up for adoption at birth. So clearly that woman's going to know what this girl's age is. She's not an adult, she was a child. And this adoptive mother is really like a sociopath. And she did things like, she's telling Natalia she has her period. Natalia doesn't have any idea what that even is. And she forced her to insert a tampon. And this girl's like 7 or 8. And so then when the tampon is removed, there was blood on it. And that's how the adoptive mother is like, this is showing proof of that. But I'm sorry, really, what that was is you broke the girl's hymen. And that's where the blood comes from. And in my opinion, that one thing alone, that should be rape to do to this young girl. But then also, see, this is where this case is so bizarre to me. For me anyway, Natalia is unlikable and hard to believe. So it's like, I don't like anybody that's involved. And so it's not like you can root for anybody or feel for anybody. It's just, they're all like, yuck. And you see in this new documentary, and it was on the ID channel, or no, yeah, ID channel. They arranged for a sit down between Natalia and the adoptive father. And this guy just is an overdramatic queen. And he's like pitching a fit at one of the questions and then storming out. And so then later in the documentary, they're meeting up again. And the way those two look at each other and stuff while they're talking, I just feel like there's something more going on here, whether or not these two plan this thing together to try to get rich or what. I don't know. I don't know what to believe in this story. Oh, and then also the adoptive mother, when she's got this son that she claims is a genius, but you find out she didn't put the kid in school. He was homeschooled. And so, of course, she gave her kid these phenomenal grades. So is the kid really a genius? No. I don't know. This story is so weird and so yuck. And the state did go after the adoptive parents, but they were found not guilty. And then Natalia has these new adoptive parents, or she's been with them for a while, and at the end of this the new documentary, it's they're adopting her because the girl no longer wants to have the name Barnett, even though she's 20 or 19 at this point. Um, and so this adoption happens, and they show that, and it's like, oh, great. And so these new adoptive parents have been there in this documentary, and he's the guy is like a preacher or something, so there's a whole lot of religion involved and wanting to pray and all that. And so, spoiler alert, at the very end of this, we get a graphic up on the screen, and then we're hearing a phone call from the adoptive parents who are now saying they're done with Natalia and she's done some horrible things, and then they're like, this case will continue, so I guess there'll be another series on it. um but this these new adoptive parents, they like foster and adopt they have a whole gaggle of kids. And so there was at some point in the documentary that one of the kids talking to the people making the documentary, that Natalia had bit them, but they're not supposed to tell anybody. So I don't know what to think on this thing. Uh, who to believe? I do not think Natalia Grace, when she was adopted, was an adult. I do believe that she was a child. Um, but uh, I don't believe her. I don't believe Michael, the adoptive woman, mother. We don't see her at all, except for hearing like some phone calls or whatever. Um, but they just all don't seem like great people to me. So it's just a very bizarre story. Um, so it was on the ID channel. And so it's called The Curious Case of Natalia Grace. So I'm sure you can just search that, Curious Case of Natalia Grace. And it was all in on demand. So it's really weird. And I feel like a bad person for not like, oh, I feel so bad for this young girl. But something's not right with that girl either. So I don't know. And it's just a bizarre time period right now, because I go from watching that. Oh, Marilyn watched it on Discovery. And I was only watching it, I'm trying to get myself where I'm doing the elliptical every day. And so I was only watching it when I was on the elliptical in the morning. So that's why it took me a little time to watch it. And now I'm watching Gypsy Rose. So I'll probably do a live maybe next week, after I've watched all this new Gypsy Rose stuff that's on Lifetime. Which that case reminds me a lot of this case. I mean, the Gypsy Rose case is obviously worse because somebody was murdered, but also the woman that was murdered was a horrible person and did horrible things to her daughter. But you don't get to just kill somebody. And I actually talked to Melissa Kaluzinski about this week. She had called me on Tuesday. And when I hear other cases and stuff, I always end up comparing it to Melissa, because Melissa is, a person I'm so close to, and the case that I care the most about. And It really bothers me that Gypsy Rose, who arranged for her mother to be killed and then went on this spree with her boyfriend and, made some nasty posts and all this stuff, that she's now free. The guy is in prison for the rest of his life. And Melissa, who's innocent, still sits in prison and can't even get back into court. And plus there's plenty of other wrongfully convicted people just sitting there. But I feel like a whiner, but I'm like, it's so not fair. And I said that to Melissa, and she said she felt the same way. That here she is sitting there, and this person who was a part of murdering somebody and admits that they murdered the person is free. And Melissa still sits there when there's plenty of evidence that shows that she's innocent, and we can't even get into court to show this evidence. So I don't know how I'm going to feel by the end of this Gypsy Rose thing. I think I've only seen 2 episodes so far. I don't know how many there were. So you're just going to have to stay tuned to Justice with Jax on when I decide that, after I've seen them all, and that I'll go live to discuss that. We'll make an event and post it. Marilyn, what was your feeling after Michael left the home and drove away in his car after the second sit down with Natalia? It was just very odd. Marilyn, what the way those two looked at each other, and Natalia smiles, and I know that somebody has accused them of having a sexual relationship. I don't know that I believe that they've had a sexual relationship. But something's weird there. Michael wasn't as bad to Natalia as the mother was, but you would think Natalia would still have a problem with him. And she was, kind of smiling and thinking he's funny at his, and I don't know how anybody could genuinely think that guy's funny. He's weird, so it's not a laughing with him, it's a laughing at him. He's a really bizarre dude. Oh, and Bryce is reminding me that Kathleen should have her filing by the 17th. What's today's date? The 11th? Okay. Yeah, something's not right. There is so much to this story. Yeah, so people need just watch it for yourselves, because it is so bizarre. But I do not think Natalia was an adult. She was a child. So then you also have nature versus nurture. So was she a problem child prior to being with their family? Or did this bad family make the child what she was? I don't know. It's weird, and I just get a really bad vibe from everyone. So, and then with the Gypsy Rose, she killed somebody. She killed her mother. Her mother did horrible things to her. I'm not going to get too into it because we'll discuss it once I've watched all of the newest documentary. And if you haven't watched any of the Gypsy Rose Blanchard stuff, there's plenty of stuff out there. The Act, and I can't remember what they're all called, but just go down that rabbit hole and watch all that Gypsy Rose Blanchard stuff. But I can't just go, poor you murdered this woman. I don't I don't know. We'll see as I watch the whole thing. And then I can't get past that Gypsy Rose got married while in prison to a guy that looks just like her mother. Look him up. Mommy Dead and Dearest. Yeah, that's the good one. That's the one with what's her name? The great actress Arquette. What's her first name? Because I'm just thinking of Alexis Arquette and Rosanna Arquette. Which Arquette is that? Patricia Arquette. Playing the mother. Patricia Arquette is such a phenomenal actress. Everything she does, great, great. So, and we here in the Chicagoland area, I'm supposed to be getting hit with a snowstorm, and then it's going to be like high of 3 degrees. So I might end up being trapped inside all weekend. So, maybe I'll binge it all and have it done this weekend, or even go live this weekend if I'm home and bored. But I just had to talk about the Natalia Grace thing because I don't know, something's really weird. Um oh cool, Marilyn. Yeah, I hope you'll join us. So, let me leave you all too before I go. Now, Bryce just reminded me of the 17th on Stephen Avery. So, if we get that, um, you know, that's I would go live on Stephen Avery project, but I can never go live anymore right away like I used to be able to when I didn't work because I now have a full-time job. So, you'll just have to watch on Stephen Avery project, and Christopher will make a post on whenever I would be free to be able to read anything. Oh, okay, Bryce. Well, my boss actually, I work for a state representative, and so they go into session on Tuesday next week. So my boss will be driving down there on Monday near Bryce. So yeah, hopefully she won't have horrible weather to have to drive down to Springfield. Um, but yeah, so on Steven's case, as soon as I'm able to go live, once we have whatever filing is, we'll do that and it'll go on Stephen Avery Project, but links will be posted here on Justice with Jax. And then, not this coming Monday, the Monday after that, I can't remember what the date is, but I took the day off of work because Marnie Yang has court, where once again they are bringing her up from the prison to attend court, and her dad can't get himself to court, so I'm going to be picking up her dad and taking him to court. So I would go live at some point on Justice with Jax after court and tell you what happened in the Marnie Yang case. So those will be the next things. And then Melissa, you know, it'd be nice if something would happen in Melissa's case. Um, Melissa did tell me, I think I said this once before though, Melissa wanted to thank all of her supporters and the people that took the time to write to her for Christmas. She actually, when I talked to her the other day, I was asking her if she needs something. And so whenever she needs cards, because she likes to send cards out to people, whether it's a holiday card or birthday card, she did ask me to order her some cards. She wanted some thank you cards and some blank cards. So, and I keep forgetting to do that because I'm a horrible person. So I'll do that today. So, she will soon have a fresh batch of blank cards to send to people. So if you want to send a letter to Melissa Kaluzinski, we do have listed somewhere here on Justice with Jax what the address is that you could write to Melissa. She really loves to hear from her supporters. So, and she gets down a lot, that nothing's happening. Um It's really sad. Um, so right to Melissa. If I think about it too, once I'm off of here, unless I don't know if Christopher is watching, if Christopher could share that again on Justice with Jax on the mailing address for Melissa. All right, I'm gonna go because I don't know if my husband wants to. We talked about possibly going shopping to stack up on stuff because we don't know what's happening with the storm. So I don't know if I'm working tomorrow. I discussed it with my boss today. So we were trying to get stuff done at work today in case we don't go into the office tomorrow. And Monday is a state holiday, so we were already going to be closed for Monday, but I don't know. So don't know if we're going. So if my husband and I are going to go stack up on anything, just in case we're just sitting in all weekend, watching stuff on TV. Um, so thank you everybody who joined me here live, and those of you who will be watching later on Memorex. And just stay tuned. Oh, the new chocolate pie. Miley knows that one of my favorite things ever is the pumpkin pie at Costco. It is the best. It is huge and it's like $5. But my only problem with when I buy my pumpkin pie at Costco, they don't have Cool Whip there. They only have Ready Whip, the spray stuff. That's not the same. I don't like the Ready Whip. I want Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Get cheese. I've got a lot of cheese, but you can never have enough cheese, Bryce. That's for sure. Oh, and Bryce, when I was talking to Melissa, because I haven't been down to the prison in a while, because I haven't been able to with work, and then I was on vacation, and I've got another vacation coming. What is my computer doing? Um, so I'm either going to be going February 12th or 19th, one of those two Mondays, because those are also state holidays. So my office will be closed. So let me know, Bryce, about those dates. Oh, strawberry cheesecake. Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right. I'm out of here to go figure out what my husband and I are doing. Again, thank you everybody for joining me. I know this was one of my quick ones. Um, but we'll find some time to gab longer later. All right. So, as always, investigation continues.